Time to con.
So that little word versus really is getting a lot of mileage these days. Not even verses, just the two letters in the dot of punctuation. VS period. Some get clever and substitute an X or drop the S period, the intent being left the same. These things are going to be connected in a very odd place to make this work. We now have Freddy vs. Jason, Marvel vs. Capcom, DC vs. Mortal Kombat. I said that right at one time. Scorpion was fighting Batman. I still think Mortal Kombat vs. Killer Instinct would rule all, but still no takers. Come on, someone can pull this idea off, which is why I'm selling it at the low price of one keg of Sour Apple Puckers. Not to drink it, just to show it off as a conversation piece, or for that one person coming through my place quickly that has to ask himself, did I just see a keg of Sour Apple Puckers? Yes, you did, and it was glorious. Arcade Pass, let's make it last. Oh, that's why I'm here. Today we're doing Alien vs. Predator. I felt compelled to do this one because Andrew Dickman said something during our Geeky Universe Tuesday night podcast, of which I'm one of the people in there. But Andrew does some impressive work, and I know I can't give him much of a boost, let's face it. I haven't quite caught fire yet. This is really just a hobby I make with way too high standards for myself, but he's definitely funny, and I'm definitely a fan. The Gargoyles Quest episode is my favorite. So he made mention of an arcade game in the podcast, and that never happened, so I jumped at the chance. Let's admit it. I'm just hoping he makes me so famous. So here I come once again with that arcade recall kind of fashion. The great thing is I put off seeing the Alien movies my entire life until now. Except for Resurrection because HBO aired it like Safety Off Fully Automatic one time. It was the only paid channel I had, so I saw that one a few million times. I have to say though, those movies have aged extremely well. I was interested start to finish, one on top of the other non-stop run. I loved them, and I will watch them again. All three of the first ones had something to see, with such a great cast of directors too. Ridley Scott, James Cameron, then David Fincher. Bravo, movies. You picked correctly. Predator I didn't watch before this, and I am sorry. I remember it pretty well. The main plot was good, but I'm still so blown away by the Alien trilogy, being a newcomer and all, that I just gotta bask in it without confusion for a little while longer. Predator was cool, both of them. Oh wait, there was a third one. And they just pluralized the original title like the Alien movies did. The movie had some really cool other planetary gadgetry, not to mention when the Predator took a trophy, and it seemed like someone from Mortal Kombat admiring their fatal works. That was cool. So you got your Alien, and then you got your Predator. Why do the two even need to combine? It's really beyond me. Why can't they just have their own separate little worlds to alienate or predatorize? That being said, I didn't see any Alien vs. Predator movies. I'm not interested, just not. I'm more likely to see Prometheus, and that movie got all sorts of critical shame. There was a game I was going to get to, and here it is. Alien vs. Predator. This is another Capcom beat-em-up, but you play as either a Predator, a different Predator, a cyborg, or a different cyborg against the aliens. Shouldn't the game be called Predator vs. Aliens then? You can now take on a horde of aliens. Why? Because...
war. It's fantastic.
This has some interesting differences from other fighters in this beat-em-up style. Every character came equipped with a weapon. This weapon can get lost unless you play as the Schwarzenegger lookalike guy. His is always attached. There's no shortage of weapons that remain faithful to the movies as well. I don't know any of the names of them, but this big gun here, I'm pretty sure I saw it in Aliens, and this thing is something I know I saw in a Predator movie. At times, there may be too many on the ground, but hey, why not have a pile of guns for these ruthless killing machines, right? In a more artistic sense, this game reminded me of Darkstalkers. The art style was very similar and the music was as well. They both were released the same year, 1994, so it would only make sense as to the style of the time.
So I tied an onion to my belt, which was the style at the time.
Also, this is 10 years before the Alien vs. Predator movie was released. Why? Well, this game's script was going to tie into the movie, which originally was set to release closer to the game's heyday, 10 years before what we ended up with. Sadly, that got scrapped and this game stands alone now, and we have this other movie that I have no interest in still. As for home release, this is another that just did not get one. I seem to have a streak of these going. Wait, what's this Super Nintendo game called Alien vs. Predator? It looks to have the idea down, but something isn't right. Aha! It's not made by the original makers. In fact, this is a standalone game made by Activision, with no affiliation to this Capcom arcade version. I guess the home market needed at least one version of this. It sucks, however. Go compare for yourself. Another thing, Capcom games aren't genuinely violent, so when you see things like this, or this, it can really shock you when you think you're playing a tame game. However, I'm talking about the arcade here. Violence, that sounds good, but I'll have that. Love those gimmicks. Hey, we could have a ninja who throws fans and manipulates fire. Isn't that cool enough? Nope, more tits. And this is how we ended up with Mai Shiranui. I mean it. So, do I have the right amount of knowledge to call myself an alien or predator expert? You know I don't. The only gripe I would have with this game is its length. It's kinda short. Although as an arcade game that's actually appreciated. Some games would go on too long and at 50 cents you got to go buy Whizzle Pops for mowing the lawn wouldn't last long enough. Then you have to go annoy your parents again, and then they get mad, and then chaos ensues, all because an arcade game is too damn... What the hell was that? I'm scared. Hold me! Arcade Pass, let's make it last.